Hi guys, and welcome to a new Tools for Dummies live stream. How are you feeling today, Danny?
Well, a bit better than this morning because I needed some time to start up. I was showering, and then I crashed my arm into my shower, and then it was, oh man, this bone here, you know. And then in that movement, my shaving and is it a shaving knife?
Yeah, your razor.
Your razor. Oh yeah, a razor. It fell down, and then I picked it up, and then on the way back up, I crashed my head into the thing with all the stuff, and then man, and it was such a morning. But okay, I'm here.
If we could only took a photo of that moment.
Oh, photos. Talking about photos.
Talking about photos.
The subject of today. Let's start.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make a great model today, I think. But
no, you're still alive.
It's okay. Yeah.
You're still here.
My
so
head is
fine.
still on my body.
So this blog we're going to talk and we're going to teach you things about photography, and it's a very fun blog.
Very fun topic. At least that's what most of you say. So it's based on your opinion that it's one of the most fun blogs to do. It has some. It takes a little bit getting used to the several settings that you can make on your camera, but once you get the hang of it, it's a very fun hobby to have. And maybe it's already some of your hobby. Sorry for my bad English. Maybe that's what my head was.
Your head is just... So during this live stream, we're going to talk about the assignment, of course. We're going to guide you through our student guides. We'll give you some examples of photos and inspiration for you guys. And we already made a very, very, very good tutorial about the basics of photography. So the live stream is going to be 45 minutes to an hour, and afterwards you can, we want you guys to take a look at that tutorial so that you understand the basic settings of the camera and of photography.
Yeah.
So let's start by looking at the planning of the coming block.
Yeah, so this is week 2, as you can see at the top of the scheme. And then that's of course this live stream, and between this live stream and the next week, we would like to ask you to watch the Tools for Dummies live about photography. You can find it on Blackboard and also on youtube.com/toolsfordummies. And then after this, we will be having 3 workshops again. And the first will be about composition. And composition is about the way, you place your subject into your frame, and then give it a nice position and take the picture. And there's some tricks that you can use to do that we will show you in a while. And then in week 4, you will have a workshop about portrait and movement. Also very fun, because with portrait you can either take your guinea pig and give that a nice place in your picture, or be a model yourself and take pictures together. So that's what we're going to do in our studio over here. And then after that, in the same workshop, you're going to work with movement, and that's all about the shutter speed of your camera. So you're going to make nice drawings, or write your name in the air with light, painting with light. That's what it's about. Yes,
and during these workshops, we have cameras available for you guys. So if you come to the workshop, there's a camera for everyone, or maybe we're going to work in couples or duos. But of course, if you have your own camera, please bring it to the workshop, because then you also have a better understanding of your own camera if you practice with it. In the final workshop, we're going to explain things about Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom. So we're going to practice with making your own meme. That's also one of the assignments, making memes. And we're going to adjust your photos you've made in Adobe Lightroom.
And then after that, in week 6 and 7, of course, there's the walk-in sessions. You're not bounded to your own hours, of your own class, you can take the whole week to walk in and just work here on your assignments.
Yeah.
Or grab a camera and ask us for help, or play with it, with the lighting and the studio. So you're very well invited to come over here, and we find it very fun if we see you working over here.
Yeah, so during the full week we have visual communication teachers in the Media Lab. So please don't feel afraid to come in or walk in or ask a question.
Nope.
Because we're here for you guys, and if you just want to work on your project, it's also a possibility to just come here and yeah.
The big orange door is always open.
Yes. And in the meantime, if you have questions, just say so in the chat. So we have a lower third so we can see your questions. So feel free to use that option in YouTube. Yes, there it is. You can ask your questions here in the chat. So let's have a look at the student guide.
Yeah, let me search for that.
And again, all the information we give you in the live stream is also available in the student guide about assessments and assignments and rubrics, deadlines.
Yeah, so here it is, the new student guide. Of course, it starts all with the README and the Let's Go. So that's your most frequently asked questions. Then we have an overview of the workshops. So the first one starts at the beginner's level with composition, because composition is very well possible with your phone and with a camera, and it makes use of this grid. So this is a nice helpful tool to make your composition. You can even activate a grid on your camera. Maybe some of you already do, and if not, if you don't know how to do that, you can find it in our in your camera settings on your phone. And I also explain it in the YouTube tutorial about photography.
Yeah, and in the next workshop, we are going to do some exercises in making portraits. So we have this nice guinea pig as an example.
He's so cute.
Yeah, but it can also be a model or something, or a classmate or a friend or something else.
How
so
far can you
afraid,
zoom
like,
in? The horror.
Yeah, the horror. And if you want to have like a bit of a blurry background, then you have to, yeah, like you see over there, you have to adjust the aperture of the camera. So that's a setting. And we're going to practice with the aperture setting in that workshop, in the second workshop. Mm-hmm. And we're going to, because you have 2 hours, this is what we're going to do in the first hour. In the second hour, we're going to practice with the shutter speed of the camera.
Yeah, that's when you can paint with light, like you see in this picture over here. Well, it's a car. It's a car. And Maurice
cool
ran around it with his lights in his hand, and then he made these light streaks.
Was this with the Christmas lights? No.
The Christmas lights on a stick.
Yeah, Christmas lights on a stick.
So if you have
so
a stick lying around and Christmas light, who doesn't have it? There are days I don't have it, and then you can run around your car.
Anti-wraps.
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 Yeah.
What hobbies do you have, Maurice?
Tie wraps, Christmas lights. And then in the last workshop, yeah, we're going to practice with the Adobe programs, and we're going to adjust some photos, and we'll show you doing some fun exercises how these techniques work in Adobe.
And then the big question, why in the hell are we going to make memes? Well, memes are very fun to make. You are going to make your own pictures, and then there's some Photoshop techniques behind them in how you can make these. And so this is just a fun exercise to learn working with Photoshop. This is the meme with the baby is the one that has the techniques that we're going to teach you. So you're not going to download a golem and then put text around it. No, you're going to take your own pictures, just like the one with the baby over here. Then you're going to cut it out. And Photoshop has some very nice automatic features for that, like object selection tool. We will teach you that. And then you're going to cut it out, place it on a new background, and then add text and then make a PNG or a JPEG of it. So there's several techniques in there. Working with layers, cutting out objects, working with text, giving it a black border, and or stroke. And yeah, so that's the reason why we are making these old-fashioned memes.
Yes, they're still the best. I prefer them above like.
Well, they're the most
new
beautiful.
memes.
Yeah,
the most beautiful.
The most beautiful. Well, the steps are written out over here, but we also have the online tutorial, which you can find on Blackboard and on YouTube. So youtube.com/toolsfordummies, and then you can find the photography 2020 version, which explains all the techniques. Come that to in a while. And this is the one that you need to use, the how to make the meme, because then you can see that we are working with Photoshop, importing objects, placing them on the canvas, so that it's also to learn how to set up your document, then import a photo, cut it out.
This is from 2017, so I look a bit different, a bit older right now.
Yeah, your picture is from 2017.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, so we guide you step by step on how to make your meme. And for the final assignment, you need 3 different memes.
Yeah, 3 different memes. Fun exercise to do,
Yeah.
working with patterns. Well, just take a look at it. It's only 18 minutes long, and then within 18 minutes, if you do all these steps, then you have the meme as we want you to make them, and then you're good to go.
So just like in the previous block, we always have in visual communication 2 assignments. So the meme assignments is more like the conditional requirements assignments before the final assignments. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a photo portfolio. So what am I going to make? You can choose between or creating a photo portfolio related to the wish of your project clients, or you can create a photo portfolio with a self-chosen subject.
But pay attention, you always need to make this one as well, because you hand it in for your project. But we give you the choice to either hand in that same portfolio that you made for your project client to us, so then we grade just the pictures that you made for that, and then see if you made use of these techniques that you see mentioned over here. Or if you make your own, maybe you find it just fun to work with these techniques, and then you're free to choose your own subjects for us, for the visual communication. And then you hand in this on our hand-in assignments, and the above portfolio on the project assignment.
Yes, and if you choose to make a photo portfolio with a self-chosen subject, if you're going to hand in that for visual communication, you have to link at least 2 out of the 4 categories to your photos. So what do we mean by that? For your photo portfolio, you've chosen 1 subject, for example, Christmas or nature or something else. But then you can also make a decision in a different kind of category. So the first one is composition. And in most of all the pictures, if you pay attention to composition, there will be a composition in there because it's kind of logical to do.
It's a portrait photo, but there's also a composition in there.
Yeah. So that's the first category, but most of the time that's always covered if you do the assignment correctly. Mm-hmm. Then we have portrait. So you can choose to make a portrait picture in your photo portfolio. Movement, you can also choose between movements. So that is, because you can play with the shutter speed and you can get like really cool effects like shown in the examples. And you can also choose to do like a product photography kind of thing. And you can see in these kind of photos, they always have the same color palette and the same kind of style. So you can also choose to do that.
Yeah, so they combine colors, or they make sure that the background is the same, or the background is complementary to your object.
Yeah, and we have a photo studio in here as well. So if you're really interested in product photography, you can also rent the studio for an hour or so and yeah, have a try.
But it costs you money.
No,
No, everything is for free, even the cameras. But there's just we will show you. There's a maximum of 3 days that you can rent a camera for free, because everyone needs to have the chance to get a camera for their assignment.
Yeah, so there's a website. Lending period is 3 working days. Everybody has a chance to use the camera. Yeah, Bonne.
Oh, it's Bonne. Bonne is sitting over there and
Yay.
he's chatting with us.
Okay, yeah.
Great profile picture, Bonne.
So make sure you plan ahead and don't do everything in the last weeks, because most of the time there won't be any camera available then.
Yeah. Do I need to make this on my own, or can we work in groups? Of course you can work in groups, but you will get an individual grade. So don't lend each other your photos. Make the photos your own, but of course you can help each other out by being the model or having a guinea pig. And then
so should we show the website where they can rent the cameras?
Yeah, let's do that.
Or
So.
lend. Yeah, lend.
Borrow.
Borrow.
cmimediadesk.nl is the website. Yeah, you see a different URL over here, but it's just cmimediadesk.nl. This is the one. Then if you press enter, it changes into the other URL. It might ask you to log in. That's just your Hansi credentials, and then you can it doesn't have an English version, I think. But you go to maak een reservering, make a reservation. And then when you click on it, you can choose apparatuur reserveren, make a reservation for the gear. And what will you see then? It's always... okay. This is it. So you have sort over here, and you can choose camera photography. So that's funny, Bonne. This is in English. So click on it, and it will show you all the Panasonic Lumix FZ200 and FZ300 cameras. If you're fast, please make sure you're choosing the FZ300s. We have less of them, but they're better than the 200s. So if you're early and they are available, I would recommend you to choose those. But then again, you can perfectly work with the 200 as well, as you will see in our workshops. Well, how do these cameras work? That's what we explain in the Tools for Dummies Live photography. You can already see in the picture or in the screenshot over here that we explain how the buttons work, how you can take your pictures and put it on the several on the different settings that you see over here.
Bonne say, you can change your language within your profile in the top right pull down.
Oh, helpful Bonne. So I go to persoonlijk profiel and then, I can fill this out.
Taal veranderen.
Taal veranderen. To English. So this is a great help for us. Now we go back.
Thank you, Bonne.
Okay.
Make a reservation.
Make a reservation, reserve equipment, that's how they call it, retrieving data, and then type camera photography, and then it's the same thing again. So how do we make a reservation? Well, let's say that today we would like to have an FZ300. You can drag the line to make it a whole day. And then for us, it might be handy to get some other things. So with the plus, you can add an extra camera or some other stuff, maybe lighting that you would like to have.
A tripod.
A tripod, because we also have that. Type, and then it's called camera capture stand. Tripod. Maybe it's nice to have that. There, stand tripod. Oh, someone took all the tripods. Well, there's some choice over here. Plus, I would like to have that as well. And then I click on Next, select Additional Services. Bonne, help me. And then you can submit your request. And then Bonne will see it, and he will give you the camera once you go over to the CMI Media Desk. You can also just borrow a lens.
I don't think that's a possibility.
No, I don't think either.
We-
Of course, we do have lenses, but they
Yeah.
belong to a certain kind of camera that we use in year 4. So if you can make it to year 4, come back, and then we will give you a lens.
Yeah, Bonnet says, sadly we don't have lenses, yeah, apart from the cameras, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, and the cameras that we use in year 1 are integrated, so
Yeah.
they have a fixed lens. Okay, so that's about it for the reservation, I think, right?
Yes, it's very easy, and I'm also going to insert the link of the CME Media Desk website on Blackboard. So you can just click on that and then it will go. But CME Media Desk is not that hard to remember.
No, there are harder URLs.
Let's get to the grading, because again, you will get
Yeah.
a grade.
Stick waiting.
So it's the same, we still have a question. Do we have to use a camera like this? No, if you have your own camera, please use that one, of course, and bring them to the workshops.
Yeah, it would be very fun if you took your own camera with you.
Grading. Same as in the previous block, we had Word as conditional requirements. Now we have that for the memes.
Yeah, so you can see these are the conditional requirements, but as long as you follow each step in the tutorial that we made, then you're good to go, and then you will see that everything what is mentioned over here, that we just do that in the tutorial.
Yeah, so make sure before handing in you have all the boxes checked for the memes. And then below you can find the rubric for the photo portfolio. And you can see that we divided some points for composition. So composition, you can already see proper use of the rule of thirds. It's immediately clear to the viewer what the main subject is. The horizon and other horizon lines are perfectly straight. And in light and colors, that the photo is not over or underexposed. And if you use an editing program, that the coloring that is applied fits the atmosphere of the scene and of the photo and of the photo portfolio. And then, last but not least, we have some points for the subject and the setting of the scene. So it's also very important that you don't just go out and just take some pictures. No, you're going to think about your subject, you're going to think about the background, you're going to think about all the elements that are in the photo. So we don't want a snapshot photo, we want a photo series that is well thought through.
Yeah, because photography is all about looking around you and then
Yeah.
finding something that might, well, add something interesting to your picture. And yeah, fitting the scene together and then make a nice picture of that.
And then the deadline, of course, the 21st of January. And this is also the deadline for the resit of the first block. So in visual communication, we always work with the same deadline for the resit and the new deadline of the block.
Yeah, that's the most easy thing. So you always know what the exact date is, and then of course, how do I hand it in? Make a PSD file and a JPEG of your memes, and for your photography portfolio, if you edited your photos in Lightroom, then you also always have to make an export. So the changes that you made in Lightroom, we're going to teach you how to do that, will be saved into the photo. And then the JPEGs of that photo you hand in on Blackboard in hand-in assignments.
Yes. So that was it for the student guides. Are there any extra questions already? No? Then everything was pretty clear. So let's have a look at some examples for inspiration. Or do we have something else?
No, it's the photography inspiration session, starting with pictures that use composition as well. Every picture uses composition, of course, but in these pictures you can see some techniques that you can use to make a good composition. And the first one is to activate the grid. And if you, some of you might already use the grid on their photo camera or in
Your phone.
your
Yeah.
phone, because it's possible to activate it on your phone as well in the camera settings. Again, in our tutorial about photography, we explain how to activate the grid, and you can see me make use of these lines to make a nice composition. So the basic rules in this are you divide your screen into 3 parts. So that's why it's called the rule of thirds. So it works horizontally and vertically. So horizontally you have this third, and this third, and vertically these thirds. And then, well, the most basic rule is keep your horizon either at 1/3 or at 2/3. So now 2/3 is taken by the sky and 1/3 is taken by the ground. And then you can also make use of these intersections or the lines to put your main subject on. So in this case, the group of sheep,
Yeah. Cute.
and they're all on this lower third line, and they're standing nicely together. And then
Looking at Maurice.
yeah. So that's the case in this picture. But in this picture, it's a car, and the car is also this is the car is the main subject in the picture. But it's a total shot, just like this is a total shot. If it would be a close-up, then the whole screen would be filled with the head of the sheep. But in this case, the sheep is well, from head to tail,
Tail, yeah.
on screen, so it's a total shot, and then you can make use of these intersections. If it was a medium shot or a more of a close-up, then you can make use of the lines to place them on.
Yeah.
So this is a total shot of the car, so we make use of this intersection to place the car around, and then that's the place for him on screen. The horizon again at around 1/3, and the sky takes 2/3 of the picture. And this one is the same thing. So main subject, the tree, at around the lower right intersection, and then the rest of the picture. So the beautiful sky with these big clouds take up the 2/3, and 1/3 is for the ground.
Yes. So the rule of thirds is a very common rule to use in photography, but also in making videos.
Yeah, it's very powerful and very, very easy.
Yeah,
in
and it's
fact,
very easy, yeah.
to understand and to apply.
Yeah, but there are many more composition rules. And if you take a look at the next picture, we didn't took it ourselves, but still a really beautiful picture. Because first of all, you can already see that the rule of thirds is kind of applied to the person, so the subject in the frame. So that is on 1/3 almost from below.
What you would do is then turn this 90 degrees, the grid,
Yeah.
and then you will see it like this, of course.
But we also discover some other things, because we can see that if you mirror the picture in the middle, it's almost exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So we have symmetry in the photo. That's also a good composition guideline. And another thing is that we have guidelines leading lines, not guidelines, leading lines in the photo, because you can see those half of the circles lead you to the subject of the photo.
Yeah, and also the light that comes in
Yeah.
does it as well,
Yeah.
and the
You can see a triangle
grids
almost.
of the
Yeah.
lighting over here, and then the stairs. They all lead to this spot where the guy or woman with the umbrella is standing.
So multiple composition rules can be applied to one photo.
Yeah, so we have centered and also the rule of thirds, because this is around 1/3 and this takes up 2/3 again. And then this person would be around this intersection. Or, well, if we turn it 90 degrees sideways, it would be around this intersection. See? So that's how you can make nice compositions within your frame. But you have to do it very securely by making use of the lines, because if you if these lines don't really match up the exact straight line of this, then your composition is a bit off, and then it's not so nice anymore. This is a great composition because it's so very strictly taken to these lines. So always make sure that the horizon follows the exact straight line of this, and it's not a little bit well off, like yeah, leading like this or something like that. Or you must do it in the extreme and then turn your camera like 45 degrees, and then you have an interesting composition. But if it's a little bit off, it's not that nice as it would be if it's so nicely straight like this one.
We have a question. Were the stars in the car picture photoshopped? No.
Those are real stars.
Those are real stars. So Maurice, the other visual communication teacher, he's also a freelance photographer, and especially specialized in night photography.
Yeah, and he has a very good equipment for it. So his lens and his sensors are really light sensitive. And he uses quite a long shutter speed. That's also a technique that we explain in the tutorial, how you can make pictures like this.
For the portfolio, can you use your photos you've already taken?
Well, we would love to see you make new photos, but if you're already a good photographer yourself, of course, we'd love to see your portfolio. And if there's some really interesting pictures in there that you would like to use, of course, always send them to us. And if they fit in a couple of the categories that we would want you to apply, so you can just prove that you're hoe heet dat? Ervaren? Experienced in that, then yeah, of course, show it to us.
But always discuss it with your visual communication teacher.
Because he has the final word on it.
And if you're already experienced in there, then of course you also like to be doing photography. So yeah, you can always take new pictures.
Yeah, of course, because then it would already be your hobby.
Okay, were the questions. Yeah, so I already talked a bit about the guiding lines. There's also a composition technique. And most of the time the guidelines guide you to the subject of the photo. So for example, if there were a reindeer in here, next
Maybe
to the,
there.
yeah, over there, then it will be perfect because those lines lead you to the reindeer, so the main subject of the photo.
Yeah. Or maybe, Maurice, what was your subject in this picture?
The contrast between the snow and the sky.
Ah,
Yeah.
the contrast.
So the lines lead
To the sky, yeah, that's true, yeah. So the contrast between, Maurice explained, the contrast between the snow and the dark sky was his subject. And you can also see that the lines, the highway or the road, lead you to the darker parts of the sky. Very interesting photo.
Yeah.
Same as with this picture, it will lead you
To the Milky Way.
to the Milky, yeah.
The Milky Way.
Milky Way.
The Milky Way.
I would like a Milky Way right now.
Yeah.
Can be.
I love it. This is also taken by very light sensitive photography, because I tried this. We were a week in Denmark, and then we had this sky, because they almost don't have any lighting, street lighting. So you can see, street lanterns. So you can see the Milky Way when you look
very clearly, yeah.
Yeah, above. And we tried to take a picture of it, but we didn't see any stars. We didn't see anything like this. So even with a very long shutter speed. So then I already saw that those were just the boundaries, the limitations of the equipment that we had. So Maurice just has very good cameras and lenses.
And skills.
And skills.
Another technique we're going to show you as well in the workshop is portrait photography.
Yeah, so the techniques that come in there are based on the aperture of the lens, so the lens opening. And you can play with that on your camera. You can change the aperture, and it is shown as an F
number
on screen. And the lower the F number, the higher the greater the difference between what is sharp and what is unsharp, and you get can well, get great results with that, because as you can see over here, only this line is in focus, so the emphasis really lies on this sheep on the foreground, and then the other sheep that are looking in our direction as well are blurred out. So this is really the sheep that it's all about in this picture. Very nicely made.
Beautiful sheep.
Yeah, beautiful sheep.
Cute.
So, but that's how you can do that with portrait. Of course, we also have some humans, and in this portrait photo, you can see that the emphasis is well mainly on the woman that's just married. Because if you take a look at her husband. Her freshly
newlywed
husband, then you can already see that he is already a bit out of focus, because her hand is not sharp anymore, his flowers are not, and then the thing that's really unsharp is the flowers in the back. Also very nicely made picture, this.
Thank you. So you can, by doing this, you can focus more on your subject in the photo.
Yeah, and a little trick to that is always focus on the eyes of someone.
Yeah.
Because if you have a really low F number, then it could also very well be that the tip of the nose is sharp and then the eyes are not anymore. So always focus on the eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, then a fun thing for the same. So in that, this is what we cover in the second workshop, the portrait techniques. But also in the second workshop is movement. And movement is a subject that I find very fun, because I live in this apartment that has this as a view, and I can make very nice pictures with movement in them. Okay, so the first example, that's this one. And it's all about working with the shutter speed on your camera. So the first one was about, the last one was about the aperture. This one is about the shutter speed. And
yeah.
And the third setting that you can make is the ISO. So that's what you see over here. I put the settings of my camera at the top of the screen. So I had an aperture of a very low number, the f3.5, the shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, and an ISO of 1600. That is because, well, ISO is it's about the light sensitivity of the sensor, and in past times the light sensitivity of the film roll that you used. So in the past, and well, you can still buy them, but it's not so common anymore. You can buy film rolls of ISO 100, and you can use them on sunny days. You can buy film rolls of ISO 400, and you use them on a bit of cloudy days, or maybe inside on in the afternoon. And then when it got a bit darker, then you would go to ISO 800, or when it's really dark, like here, you go to ISO 1600. But I don't know if there were ever film rolls with ISO 1600.
Really?
Yeah, 800, right?
Yeah.
So this is really a thing of the digital times that we are living in now.
Yeah,
but the fun thing is, you can make a nice nightly picture like this, and you can see that all the cars, they look like they are parked over at the street. And that's because I had such a fast shutter speed. But what the shutter does, when you take a picture, a little door opens. And it does click, and it opens, and then it shuts again. And then it made the picture. And if that time is very short, you almost don't see any movement in your picture like this. But it also, the side effect is that your picture could get a bit dark, because you can imagine if you open a door very quickly and you shut it down immediately, almost no light came in. Mm-hmm. And that's why we need a low aperture, so a big lens opening is that. So the lower the number, the bigger the lens opening is, and also a high ISO, because we need more light coming in. So the light sensitivity of the sensor needs to be high. And then you can get a picture like this. But what you also see is that if you take a look at the
sky,
the sky, you can see all these little, this noise over here. And that's because that's a side effect of using a high ISO. and it also makes the picture a little bit less sharp. So you should try to prevent to use high ISO settings. So only use it when you cannot do anything else.
Yes, and all these settings we just explained, they are also explained in the tutorial in depth with different kind of examples, because it's all about getting the right exposure and the right effect. So if you're going to make a photo with a blurry background, for example, you need to adjust the aperture, but if you adjust one of those settings, you need to adjust the other ones as well, if you're shooting in manual mode.
Yeah, and it's a system, it's a triangle that you need to get used to, and in the beginning it's very difficult, because I was confused all the time. What am I doing? But yeah, once you get the hang of it, then you will see that it's almost like driving a car, and you don't have to think about it. So then you're making those settings a bit more intuitively.
And we're going to practice with this as well in the workshops.
Yeah. Because there are some helpful settings on the camera so you can put your camera on an aperture setting, for instance, and you only have to worry about the aperture settings because the camera will do the other two settings as well. And you can also set your camera to a shutter speed setting, and then the camera will take the aperture and the ISO into account. Or you can, make adjustments. But we will come to that then. Okay, so this was a fast shutter speed. But if I want to make the same picture under the same lighting conditions, because that's what the point of that is all about, and I'm changing the shutter speed, then you can make pictures like this. So you can see in the settings that I first had an aperture of 3.5, a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, so that's quite short, and an ISO of 1600. If I change the ISO to 100, so that's the lowest ISO setting that is possible,
well, most of the time.
And it's for daylight settings, in fact. And I heightened the aperture a little bit, and then put the shutter speed at 4 seconds. Then the shutter takes 4 seconds, it leaves the door open for 4 seconds, and 4 seconds long cars are driving by, and then you can get these nice light streaks that you see over here.
Yeah, very cool.
Side effect, positive side effect of that is because now we have a low ISO setting. Take a look at the sky, it's much smoother than it was in this one. You don't see the noise anymore, see? Mm-hmm. So the lighting conditions are the same, because the picture didn't get any darker or lighter, but it got a bit sharper, and you get the other effect of it. Well, you can do very nice things with that, and that's what the second workshop will be all about.
Yes.
Because then you can play with
light,
and then make a drawing or a little puppet in the sky with with the light of your phone.
Yeah. And are there GoPros that have high ISO RAWs?
Well, I'm not a real GoPro expert. We do have GoPros over here. We also have 360 degrees GoPros.
You can't use them for this because
No.
all the settings are automatic.
Yeah, all the settings are
High
automatic.
ISO, but you can adjust the settings manually.
Yeah, you can't adjust the settings manually on a GoPro, so everything is on automatic mode.
So it will just see what are the light conditions. Okay, then I change my settings into this and that, so I get the brightest picture possible without it being too bright or too dark.
Yeah.
So you can't use that.
You can't use that.
Well, not for this
Not
photography,
for this,
but maybe
yeah.
he asked it because he wanted to use the GoPro for himself. Okay, yeah, about the workshop. So these are techniques that we will teach you in the workshops that we have for you, starting next week with composition.
Yeah, so we're going to do some exercises on how to activate the grid, how to handle the camera, and how to make a good composition. And all the cameras, we are going to make a reservation to lend the cameras, so they're already here for you, so you don't have to do that. And if you have your own camera, please bring it, because then you can also get to know the techniques and settings in your own camera.
And then in the second, we have the portrait and the movement. based on our lovely guinea pig. Then you're going to work with the aperture setting, so you can already see it over here. That's the F number that I was talking about. The lower the F number, the bigger the difference between what is sharp and what is unsharp on your screen. And then, of course, as I just explained,
Going to draw with lights.
the longer the shutter speed, and you have to make sure that you're in a really dark, no, not a dark room. I would say
Not a dark room.
dark room.
Low light conditions.
Low light conditions. Then we are going to make sure that the light conditions are low in the Media Lab, and then you can make these kind of pictures.
So bring your Christmas lights, your
Your Christmas tree, and then shake it around.
Yeah. So this is going to be very fun, and also very helpful to get to know the techniques in the camera.
Yeah, so you won't make pictures like this.
It's my favorite of all times. So yeah, this live stream, like I already told you in the beginning, is only going to be quite short, because we want you to watch the tutorial that is on Blackboard about all the basic techniques with different kind of examples, and also instructions about how to handle the Lumix cameras we're going to use in class. So you can do that right now, you can do that right before next class, but please make sure you've watched it before the next workshop.
Yeah, and we cover every subject on this. It's fun to watch because you can see Maurice working in the field and then getting struck by lightning, and and he will help us out in the studio with his photo knowledge. And then I'm also explaining how to work with the grid on your camera, so the part of the composition. I also show you how to do that on your phone. So you can make use of the grid to place your main subject on. And then Maurice takes over, and he will explain to you how to make these nice portrait pictures, and then also the settings that you need to make on the Lumix camera that we have over here. So that will help you in making the pictures the right way.
And even if you have your own camera, most of the settings are compared with other, are quite similar to other cameras.
Yeah, because, well, of course, these kind of the function buttons are different, but every camera has the shutter button, or the, how is it called? Shutter, no? Well, the button to take the picture, and almost every camera also has these letters. So the M for manual, so you have to make all the settings yourself. The S for shutter speed, so you only have to change the shutter, and the camera does the other things like aperture, and an aperture setting, so you only have to do the aperture setting, and an ISO button, so you can change the light sensitivity of the lens. So those are quite the same on every camera.
Yeah.
It's only 17 minutes long. It's very useful and fun to watch. So yeah, just
Please
take a look
do
at
so.
it. Take a look at it, and then you know everything to make a good start at the workshop. So we can start right away.
For the record, you cannot borrow guinea pigs from the CMI Media Desk. No.
We don't have them in a box, Bonne. Okay. No more questions? Well,
Okay, great.
then have fun in the upcoming week. Watch the tutorial, and then we'll see you in the first workshop in the Media Lab. Yeah.
Bye.